So he can get his motorcycle license at 16?
You can, but you got to have safety gear first.
Gotcha. That's what he's missing then.
Call the Broken Arrow City Council meeting to order. Roll call, or I'm sorry, invocation, I already messed up. Scott Moore.
Not yet, we didn't do the roll.
Yeah, you're fine.
All right, well, let's pray, guys. Heavenly Father, we come before you thankful for your guidance. Father, we remember Proverbs chapter 20, verse 28, where it says, "A king establishes the land with justice, but one who takes bribes tear it down." Father, we are thankful for leaders who lead with justice in mind and lead with integrity. And so, Father, we just thank you for the elected officials. We thank you for city staff and for the tireless work that they do for our city. And we just ask for your continued blessing upon them. Father, we ask that you'd be with us as we navigate the agenda that's before us tonight. We ask for wisdom. We ask for discernment as we make decisions that are just and fair. Father, for citizens that will be part of tonight's meeting, we just ask that they would be able to communicate clearly and that they too would have respectful exchanges with all of those that are involved so that we can seek after your good and perfect will for our community. Father, we love you and we thank you again for the community that we live in and for the leaders that we have and for the concerned citizens that take part in this journey with us. Father, be with us, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you. Now roll call.
Green,
Here.
Ford. Here. Parks,
Here.
Gillespie,
Here.
Wimpy. Okay.
Please stand while Councilor Parks leads the pledge.
Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 5 is consideration of the consent agenda, and we are removing item L to be discussed after our beta meeting. Are there any other items to be removed?
I lost the letter.
Make a motion that we approve with the exception of letter L.
I think there was one other one that he's looking for the letter right now.
Okay.
I'm
It was,
sorry.
that's okay.
Yeah, I can't find it at the moment.
We can wait.
Is it item F?
Yes.
Yes.
There we
Okay.
go.
I'll amend the motion to be item L and F.
Second? Oh, it says no second required.
Sure. I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with the section of items L and F.
A second?
There it is. Perfect.
Well, why does it not show that I voted on it?
only showed
It didn't
three
show, it
votes.
didn't show my vote. I vote yes.
Yes, I'll make that a note in the record.
Thank you.
Okay.
Question, Trevor, we're tabling L. Should we go ahead and do item F now, or just wait and do them both?
You could do F now as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Item F of the consent agenda is the approval and authorization to execute a professional consultant agreement with professional engineering consultants for the construction design of the Highland Park rugby fields.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, Council, Mr. Spurgeon, Charlie Bright, Director of Engineering Construction. Before you tonight is a consideration of a design contract for completing the design of Highland Park, Phase 1 of what we were calling Highland Park, which would just consist of a all-purpose rugby field and a small parking lot facility. A couple of years ago, we did a master plan that included a much larger vision for that park, and this is just one small piece of that. Happy to answer any questions you guys have about it.
Thank you. I just thought this was a pretty big deal. People will be excited about it, so I didn't want to just get swept under the rug under consent. I want to be able to put it out there so people can know this is coming. It's a good thing for our community, so I appreciate you taking the time to come up and update us on it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I make a motion that we approve item F on the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, item number 7, public hearings, appeals, presentations, recognition, and awards.
Yeah, it was tabled.
Oh,
till
yes,
after
I'm
beta.
sorry. So we need to make a motion.
Make a motion that we table item L till after the beta meeting from this agenda.
A second.
All right. Moving on to number 7A, presentation by the OML League, or Oklahoma Municipal League, and recognition to city employees for reaching 25 years of service. Kelly Cox and Mayor Joyce Calvert.
Good evening, Madam Vice Mayor, Mr. Spurgeon, City Council members. This evening, I'm going to have Cheryl Owens introduce our OML representatives that are here with us this evening to provide recognition for our 25-year of service employees.
Hello. How are you guys?
Good evening.
Every year, the OML comes out, recognizes our 25-year employees. Mayor Joyce Calvert is going to announce our 25-year employees for us.
Thank you very much.
welcome.
I appreciate you. I'm very happy to be here. I also have my cohort, David Tillison, City Manager of Glenpool, back here. We know all of you. You're our neighbor. We're your neighbor to the west, and I know Deborah Wimpy. I know each of you counselors, and I even know your city manager, Michael Spurgeon, over there. So we're very happy to be here tonight and very excited to know that you all have so many people that are receiving these awards tonight. I believe you had 11, and there could only be 2 here. But if you would allow me, I'd like to read the names of those that are not present. Melinda, is it Arvet? Deborah Bell, Ian Buchanan, Jamie Dufresne, Stephen Geiger, Brian Gerber, Daniel Hurst, Timothy Yentz, Bradley Klingenberg, Barry Pickup, and Rihanna Russell. So you've got 11, and we're only going to be presenting 2 tonight. But how exciting that you all have got such long-term longevity in some of your employees. I find that very, very wonderful, very exciting, and very happy for you all. The first one, let's take ladies first, is Deborah Bell. If you would come forward. Deborah, they tell me that you were 4 years with the water department, is that correct? And then you've been in fire support since then?
Yep.
That is wonderful. It says that Oklahoma Municipal League has entered upon its honor roll of service the name of Deborah Bell in recognition of 25 years of service to the city of Broken Arrow. And it's signed and sealed.
Thank you.
We thank you for your for all that you've done for the city, and they have a pin for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We will now have Brian Gerber. Brian, you too have 25 years of service to the city of Broken Arrow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Lots of gray hairs.
Yes, lots of gray hairs. Here's your award, and here is your pin. And we appreciate everything you've done for the city. Thank you for having us. Congratulations on your longevity employees.
Thank you.
Before you guys go, if we can get a picture together, that'd be great.
Where do you want your
We'll
picture
come down here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hi, Debbie. I was like, that's Debbie. I didn't think you saw me. I was like waving at you. Hey, congratulations.
Get close.
Debbie, they wouldn't let you wear any ears?
It's her fault. Oh, no, it's her fault.
I don't think there's a lot of cities that can have 11 people, 11 employees that have served for 25 years. That's a lot to be proud of.
Very impressive.
All right. Item 7B, presentation of an update of city employee participation in the 2024 Leadership Broken Arrow Program. Aaron McCullough.
The police is right behind you, so watch it.
I'm sorry?
Police is right behind you.
Police is following you.
I know. Good evening, Vice Mayor, Councilors Parks, Ford, and Green, City Manager Spurgeon. I am Aaron McCullough, Communications Director for the City of Broken Arrow. Beside me are, I'm going to go ladies first, so no offense, Cindy Arnold, Finance Director for the City of Broken Arrow, Captain Brandon Teener, Broken Arrow Police Department, and we are 3 of the 5 representatives of the class of 2024 city employees who were part of the Leadership Broken Arrow program. The other 2, as you can see, had prior commitments this evening, couldn't join us, but they certainly gave us their blessing to move forward. And those are Assistant City Attorney Graham Parker with the legal team here at the city, and Chief Jeremy Moore with the Broken Arrow Fire Department. Brandon was saying earlier that he thought there may be something as far as Chief Moore not wanting to show up, the whole fire versus PD thing, but
Hey, the scene's safe.
but he's on a cruise. we let Brandon know that he was not scared to be here. We wanted to provide you with just a quick update on what it is that Leadership Broken Arrow is, what we've done this year, our experience, what the class is, a class project, that sort of thing. It's a 10-month-long program. The city has been part of this Leadership Broken Arrow. They've put employees forward to be participants of the program for many, many years. I know
Since
there's
2001. I was in the very first class.
and
Yes, just to clarify, just 2001. Yes.
But just so you know that we are the best class ever.
That's what I hear every year. I hear that every year.
We've heard that every month now for the past 10 months. But it's a really great program because what it does is it brings about 40 different individuals from the Broken Arrow area into this program. We meet once a month. We get to hone leadership skills, we get to connect, network with different people around Broken Arrow, and then we get to learn, we get a unique perspective and learn a little bit more just about our history and the fabric of our community. And so it's a really great opportunity for us, and I don't want to speak for these 2, but I'm really honored to have been chosen and selected for this, and it's been a really great experience. Part of that is also a class project that we are tasked to do. Each class needs to do a kind of a keystone project, if you will, towards the end. It needs to benefit the community in one way. I'm not going to get into that too much right now. My colleague, Captain Teener, is going to talk a little bit more about that. But this is one of those examples of Mr. Spurgeon, Mr. Schwab, Mr. Stevens, their commitment to internal growth here within the organization, building leaders from within. I think you saw it earlier with Charlie Bright up here, who was just promoted to Director of Engineering. You've seen that recently with Emily Rowland, with Brandy Parks. There's another one, I'm not going to steal your thunder, that I'm sure you're going to announce later this evening. So, but
this is all their commitment to that seamless transition when someone leaves, that someone from within is able to step right in. And Leadership Broken Arrow is one of those, it's a testament to being able to do that. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Arnold, and she's going to talk just a little bit about about what we've done this year.
And you're going to change the slide? Or?
Oh, yes.
As Aaron said, that we meet once a month, and it's for 10 months. And these are some of the topics we did. The first meeting was like the BA history, and we went to the History Museum, and we also did a scavenger hunt with different historical places in the city. And for me, I hate to admit this, I do not live in Broken Arrow, so I learned a lot, and I didn't realize what we had here, especially in the social services. I mean, we visited Happy Hands, Broken Arrow Seniors, New Leaf, BA Neighbors, Griffin's Promise, and Gateway. And I did not know all those services existed. And then city government, obviously, which I'm very familiar with. And then healthcare, now you have 40 additional people. We are all been CPR certified during this program.
Good job.
Education, we went to the Vanguard Academy and BA High School and NSU. And the BA Day at the Capitol, which you were all there. Arts and Humanities was the Performing Arts Center, and Public Safety. It's been a great learning experience, and I have learned a lot about the city.
Very good.
So you haven't done public safety yet, right? It's
No,
usually
we're
in
doing
May.
that,
That'll be your best day. It just will. It'll be your best day. It will
I'm
be.
surrounded by the public safety people.
That's right, but it's a great way to finish it out.
All right, so I'm glad I didn't have to follow the man who speaks for a living here. Make it a little bit easier. So I'll echo the sentiments of my colleagues. This has been great. I have lived here my entire life, almost 45 years, and I still learned a huge amount on the History Day. So LBA class of 2024, I think we've already discussed the best. We chose Step into Technology as our class project. I didn't come up with that. I'm not that clever, but it's fitting. The project is aimed at assisting the senior population of Broken Arrow with the use of modern technology. We know our seniors are the wisest portion of our population, but computers, tablets, and smartphones can create frustration. Our goal is to assist interested seniors in basic tasks up to more advanced features if they so choose. Technology is expensive, and we hope to help this important group of citizens get the most from their technology. We believe this will improve their quality of life by making communications with friends and family more efficient and inclusive of photos and videos if they so choose. The LBA class of 2024 will be working directly with the seniors at the Broken Arrow Senior Center on April 2nd and 3rd, which is an amazing facility that I also got to tour as part of this. We know our city leadership is extremely busy, but if any of you all would like to join us, we'll be there on the April 2nd and 3rd. We'd be happy to have you there to see what we're doing. I'll turn it back over to Aaron.
That pretty much wraps it up. Like I said, we just wanted to give you an update, and we wanted to set the stage for the future classes that are the city employees who are part of LBA to come in and just get it on public record to let you know what it is that the city employees are doing to help benefit the community. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say there are several of our colleagues here in the audience tonight who have been part of LBA in the past. I know Rocky Hinkle, Jerry Schuber, Grant Rissler.
Best class ever, Jerry.
Jennifer Rush.
That's what they all say.
And so there's definitely an investment in growing employees within the city of Broken Arrow, and we're proud to be part of that. And with that, we'll take any questions that you may have.
Well, I do believe Leadership Broken Arrow has come a long way since the first class in 2001. And it is sponsored by the Broken Arrow Chamber. You have such a mixture of people. And I don't know how many times I've heard people say about basic services that we have in our city that they had no idea. So for those of you that may not know, they do have to visit so many of the board meetings. We actually had several of them in our senior center board meeting today. We knew it was coming down to crunch time. But they also have to attend a city council meeting. And I know, too, when I was in leadership of LBA, we also asked for them to attend a school board meeting, either Union, Broken Arrow, Christian Academy, like wherever. So I guess you're still doing that, too?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. We are required for 4 board meetings, 4 board experiences is what they call them, 1 city council, 1 school board meeting, and then 2 nonprofits.
So I'm really excited. I know Christy is too, about you all coming and helping our seniors. I'm sure you're going to have a full house, and you may be surprised. Some of them are pretty savvy, but I know a lot of them that they've already got a list. They talked about it today. Yes. So yeah.
Well, it was a really good discussion about all the different projects that were out there that we could possibly do, and this was one that actually came from Kim Crenshaw and Amy over there at the senior center, and said, we've heard feedback from our members that this is something that they want, and so it's going to be a really good program, a really good opportunity, and we think it's going to be sustainable, that it can go on year after year.
And I want to just reiterate what they said too. If it wasn't for you approving them, because it's not inexpensive, I mean, it does cost money, but I mean, it's so valuable. So thank you for allowing, our employees from all across the city. Like it's, as you can see, we have a very, varied from departments, but I hope we continue to do this. I think it is a great program for sure.
Again, Vice Mayor, I appreciate that, Councilmember Ford. There's a lot of great reasons why Leadership Broken Arrow is important, and I applaud the chamber, because it does take a lot of work and a lot of time and effort to actually administer that program. So, kudos go out to those folks before and now, and in the future, they're going to maintain that program. For me, one of the biggest things is now the city has advocates that know the other 34 or 35 individuals from within the community. So if they have an issue or concern about the city, they now have that key account, that business person that they know they can call. Because sometimes trying to find out where you need to go and get your question answered is not always easy. And so now you have individuals, and that's the main thing. I ensure that that they're interested in engaging with those folks after the class is over, because that's only going to make our community stronger whenever we engage with those members of the private sector or other members of the public sector that are participating as well.
And also, I use that list of LBA graduates or are in Leadership Broken Arrow for some of my appointments that I make. Even back many years ago, one of our vice mayors, a woman, was selected because I met her in the LBA. And even this year, I've selected somebody to settle my position on one of the boards. So we try to encourage that way, is that go ahead and use you when need to, and the leadership to replace all of us one of these days.
Well, I think we're all willing.
There you go.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you all.
Good job.
I think they should have to come every year to do that.
I think so too. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I'm glad they did.
Item 7C, presentation regarding street closure permit for the lane closure of a portion of Aspen Avenue from Lansing to 1400 block of Aspen Avenue. Charlie Bright.
You look nice tonight.
Thank
Charlie.
you.
Dressed
Thank
up.
you. Good evening again, Vice Mayor, Council, Mr. Spurgeon, and Charlie Wright, Director of Engineering Construction. I will say I'm a hopeful member of LBA class of 2025, and I did hear that's going to be the best class. So,
Good
so
one.
We'll see. Yeah, tonight here to talk about just a presentation. We're not asking for any action to be taken because we do have the permit process where they asked to do a road closures, but we did wanted to make the council and the public aware. We got a lane closure permit request from ONG on Aspen Street from basically right there in front of the Dunkin' Donuts, heading southbound on the west side. They want to close one lane, and they're saying they'll close it in the mornings and open it back up in the afternoons. But it's going to take probably close to a month worth of work. We wanted to make the council aware because obviously it's a very busy intersection, and there'll probably be some traffic and some backups due to that work. Ultimately, what they're doing is they're trying to repair a line in that area. They're not doing any work in our roadway itself, but they're putting bore pits right at the back of curb. And so for safety and for space for their equipment and everything else, they want to block off that outside lane so cars can't get there while they're in the bore pits. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys may have about it.
So it seems like to me, Dunkin' Donuts, the traffic still stacks up every once in a while. How's that going to affect the traffic flow for Dunkin' Donuts if they're like people still be able to get in there and get out?
Well, luckily, the area in particular we're talking about, there are no left turns going the other way because there is no businesses on the opposite side of Dunkin' Donuts there. So anybody heading southbound will still have the left turn lane available to them to get into Dunkin's. I don't think you'll have a problem. Northbound is obviously open like any other day. So I don't think it should affect them too bad. They actually are doing some work on the other side as well, and I think they've conflicted with that, but that's not part of this permit request, so.
Okay.
There are a lot of lines through there besides ONG, you know what I mean? So it's not unusual to see quite a bit of work going on.
Correct.
Those oil lines and stuff.
Correct. And I believe they just got their permit to go into the railroad tracks and everything, which is why they're submitting to us. So they're setting their bore pits on both sides of the railroad tracks and then shutting down there for a while. So, thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks, Charlie.
Item number 8 is citizens' opportunity to address the council, and we do have one person who's signed up, Ms. Doré Trent. You could just say your name and you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay, my name's Doré Trent, and I'm here to talk a little bit about the amphitheater. And I know that we've addressed things in the past, such as safety, traffic, noise level, things like that. One of the things that I haven't really heard addressed is contingency issues or contingency plans. And just for the sake of time, I've kind of divided those into 3 areas. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I've never done this before.
You're doing great.
So these are things like, the stuff happens, the what ifs and all that. So one thing is plans fall through. Well, the amphitheater is not built yet, so stuff can always happen. While I don't want to see that happen, plans can fall through. The other area is disasters. And I'm not really sure if you all are really aware, but if you research some of the tornado paths in that area, you can see that a lot of the tornado paths kind of go right through that area there, over into that sod farm or that thing across the street from it. So disasters might happen. And then just, I guess, in the long term, maybe there's a point where it's no longer viable, maybe because of one of those 2 things I already mentioned, or maybe it just doesn't become viable anymore. And that's happened, over time. There's a lot of outdoor entertainment places that are now like Amazon distribution centers or apartments and stuff. So the bottom line that I'd like to address with you all is, as you all have said, an amphitheater has always been a part of the Parks and Recreation's master plan for that land that is now called the Event Center. I forget how many names it's been through, but now it's called the Events Center or Events Park. So in that light, I just kind of want to say that if stuff happens, that whatever becomes of that area, I want to see that it stays in line with the Parks and Recreation plans and doesn't become like a distribution center, an apartment, commercial businesses, or anything in that light, that it stays true to the concept that it's with. And that's the one thing I haven't seen addressed. The end.
Thank you. So
She
we
did
aren't
great.
allowed to,
Pardon me?
we aren't allowed to vote or anything or take action on anything you're talking about, but you do bring up, I really enjoyed that point of view. And that's something we do need to take into consideration if anything were to happen later, so.
I can address a couple of comments if you like,
I think
Vice
a couple
Mayor.
things will be discussed.
First, disasters. I mean, that's a very legitimate concern. And once the Notes Live team, the events organizers or programmers or operators of the venue actually are on site, our emergency management team, public safety team, administration is going to meet with them, because we're going to want to know what their disaster plans are, just like we're going to have to help coordinate with them the traffic management plan for managing the traffic based on the number of people that are going to come to a specific concert. So I can give the council an update with regard to the disaster plans once we have the opportunity to meet with the team. Was just announced last month who the promoter was going to be, and so that's something I can update the council on.
with regard to whether the theater is ever going to be built, I mean, we're planning on starting construction later this summer, and our partner, Nos Live, is just about a month or two behind us in terms of when their construction is going to start. And we're trying to time it to when our construction will essentially try to go together, because they want the theater to be open sometime right after Labor Day, I understand, of 2025. And so we're making every effort to actually start construction this summer. And then finally, in terms of the viability, that's a concern from my perspective, is they're going to be investing over $70 million. And I don't see them walking away from it, and especially with the amount of money that's being invested, as well as the promoter they're utilizing. And knowing this promoter, I just don't see that happen. But I can tell you this: that area needs to stay a recreational area. So I don't see this council, I'm not speaking for them, but I can never see the events park ever turning anything but remaining a passive and active recreation area for our community.
The existing park, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, was built with a bond issue, so it will always stay a park. The 41 acres, we're still going to own all of it except for 13 acres of it, which we're selling to them. They'll own their own property at that location. So I can foresee that would always stay a part of that park. So I agree with the city manager. I don't see that ever changing, the park. We just don't move parks around or close parks and put houses on them. We're proud of our park system.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anytime.
You did great.
Good
You
job.
did great.
Yeah, you did good.
All right, item number 9A, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of and authorization to execute amendment number 1 to the agreement for professional consulting services with Poe and Associates. Charlie Bright.
You need to sit up front, Charlie.
Yeah, nice for many to get closer. So, good evening again, Vice Mayor, Council, Mr. Spurgeon. My name is Charlie Bright, Director of Engineering Construction. Before you tonight is consideration for an amendment to our design contract with Poe and Associates for the design of Houston Street from Olive to Garnett. Well, it doesn't go all the way that far. As you know, we were planning on being in construction fairly soon on this project. We were at pretty much 100% design. The design was done, and we ended up having a conflict with a gas line there owned by a company called Energy Transfer. They're called that because they're really just a transmission gas line going through town. It's not a primary like end user gas line for us here. The issue is the Energy Transfer. Our road that we designed is not directly in conflict with the gas line itself, but they have their own dedicated easement right outside of our right-of-way. And we were going to be doing work where the original alignment of the road was going to be located. We were going to be doing work near and have some earth fill and stuff like that going over the top of their gas line. And we were having discussions with them throughout the project, and they were always pretty open to that, just saying, hey, we'll do some safety measures, we'll put some bridge gaps in, stuff like that. And at one point, they asked us to go pothole their gas line. Well, when we did, we determined that their gas line was only 6 inches of cover in the creek down by Olive Street. Once they determined that, they made their own determination that they had a safety issue there and concern, and so they changed their stance and said we cannot work around or on top of their gas line in any way, shape, or form. And if we were to, and what their request was, is they wanted us to pay to move their gas line. That would have killed, it wouldn't have killed the project, it would have killed our budget, and I think it would have been in the tune of a couple $1 million for us to do that. We weren't willing to do that. We were trying to find ways to make it work, and so ultimately the solution our team came up with was to redesign the project and move the road approximately 9 feet further south to get away from their gas line. And this way we stay completely inside the statutory right-of-way, so we will not encroach on their dedicated easement. We can build the road, and we've worked with all the other utility companies. We shouldn't have any other problems. But obviously the consultant had already designed out the road, and so this amendment is to pay them to kind of fix that design and move away from the gas line. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have on it.
Are they going to lower their gas line?
I cannot speak for them. There is no plan for it right now that I'm aware of. I think they were hoping we would do it.
Is it a high-pressure line, or?
It is a 24-inch high-pressure line.
Wow.
Agreed.
Question for you, Charlie. I mean, in terms of the east mile, how
Yes,
will
sir.
those things line up?
It is in conflict for the East Mile. We are talking it's a different design consultant, but we are talking to that design consultant about going through this same process. We'll probably realign the road both on the western side and the eastern side through the intersection. As far as we have a conflict with that gas line, they move back over. I do foresee another amendment with that consultant coming in the future.
There's been a lot of discussions about this, and they haven't been the most cooperative. And obviously, we really need to get moving forward with widening that road.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something we promised the voters, and we're essentially ready to go.
So they have a right of way. Is it shallow just where it crosses the creek, or?
It is the most shallow where it crosses the creek. I believe it is shallower than regulations allow today, pretty much throughout the whole area.
Just looks like there'd be some laws that protect, you know what I mean? Somebody getting in there digging or whatever.
I agree that it is a safety concern.
So are there laws in place, I mean, that protect us, that if it's a safety concern?
I am not the expert. I don't have an actual factual answer for you right now. I can find out.
This actual line was put in probably in the 1950s. So even the laws that are in place today, it would still be grandfathered in according to the late 40s, early 50 laws. And as Charlie said, it has a dedicated easement. So that means they're the dominant estate. They actually get to dictate what you do on top of or in their easement. I think this is a great solution. Do you know the time frame on the redesign that would get us to construction?
Yeah, Poe and Associates has already been very cooperative with us. They've actually already started the work on the design, just at their own risk, just to get this moving as quick as possible. And we believe we can still have the project out to bid in the early summer.
From what Charlie said, I do recall that on the east mile, Mr. Spurgeon, the gas line is about mid-mile, so that would be halfway between Olive and Aspen on the north side. So like you said, we'll redesign the intersection, and then it crosses, as you go west of Olive, it crosses back over. So this is a good solution. Appreciate the engineering team coming up with this. I think this will still allow us to move forward and get to where we need to be. Fortunately, as he says, on the next mile, there's a lot of, if you remember where we're talking, Olive to Aspen, south side of that mile, really the first thing you run into is our fire station over there. So there's a lot of open space. This helps.
Yeah. I want to say this, Vice Mayor. I mean, one thing I want to mention is that because we're a couple of years away from getting both miles done, I mentioned to Rocky about the fact that the intersection at Aspen and Houston on the west side is pretty rough, and I don't think it's going to make it for a couple of years until we need to do something. So we need some type of solution for that until such time as we can complete the overlay. So I'd like to see us come up with something for that.
Agreed.
I think Rocky's put something in the budget for that.
I have a question for Trevor. Trevor, so when I read this background, I didn't see anywhere where it said energy transfer, and I actually have stock in energy transfer, and the only reason I know that is because that's what I'm waiting for my taxes to be done, is for them to give me my stuff. So I know we're not really voting on that, we're just voting on, it wouldn't be a conflict if I voted on this because we're just voting for some extra, to do some different stuff to try to figure out how to make this work.
Correct.
Okay.
You're not profiting from this. You're not entering into a contract. You're not, contracting with the city. So no, there's no conflict.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Good question.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we we approve the authorization, if I could speak, to approve the authorization to execute the amendment number 1 to the agreement of professional consulting services with Poe and Associates.
A second.
Thank you.
Item approved. Number 10, preview ordinances, there are none. Number 11, ordinances, 11A. Consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of ordinance number 3825. Grant Rissler.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, Councilors, Mr. Spurgeon. This item was brought up for preview at your last council meeting, March 5th, if you'll recall. This item is to try to help alleviate an issue that we have had behind the farmers market, or behind the Museum BA in that farmers market area. So this ordinance is just an amendment to prohibit overnight parking on Friday nights in that parking lot so that it doesn't conflict with our vendors.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 3825.
I'll second.
And I'll move for the item approved, and I'll move for the emergency clause when it comes up.
Make a motion, and I'll second the motion that, well, never, I won't do anything. I'll vote on it.
All right, item approved. Item 11C, consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of ordinance number 3826.
I apologize, you're going to see me for a little while here. So if you'll recall, this item also went for preview at the last council meeting on March 5th. This was part of an amendment. This is specifically for Chapter 6. What we would like to do is remove the requirement that we have on contractors to maintain an escrow account with the city of Broken Arrow. So this item actually is just to address Chapter 6. This is also tied to item G, which addresses Chapter 10, which basically we're just trying to tie up all the ends to catch all the parts of the ordinance.
Questions?
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 3826.
I just have one question,
Sure.
and I just need the clarification, I guess, on it. So we had them put escrow down before so they would be accountable.
Mm-hmm.
So how are we making them accountable now if we're not requiring them to do that?
Sure. So with our new software system that we've implemented about a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit longer, we're approaching 2 years in July. The new software maintains the data a little bit differently. So it's really easy for us. Our inspector goes out. If they fail an inspection, and that was really kind of the crux of why we had that escrow requirement, was if you failed an inspection and there's a reinspection fee, we wanted to make sure that that got paid. Well, now with the new system, we don't actually issue it if there's an outstanding fee sitting against that permit. So when the inspector says it needs to be reinspected because of a failure, it automatically puts that fee onto that permit. So the system automates that process now. So for us, what happens, the reason that we decided to try to move this forward is we have contractors that come into town and they'll do one job a year, or it's a small time mom and pop, tradesman, and they're going to do a couple of little jobs. Well, they've got to put up a $250 escrow to come and do that one little job, right? And they're from halfway across the state or whatever. So this really, we're not taking away the option, because some of our larger vendors, they like that escrow and they just tell us, hey, pay my permit fees on these next 3 permits out of my escrow account. Fantastic, we're happy to do that. So we still want to offer the service, we just don't want to require it.
Okay, I'll second the motion. Thank you for clarifying that.
Absolutely.
Item approved. And I will move for the emergency clause for this one.
I'll second that motion.
Item 11E, consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of ordinance number 3827.
So 3827, I warned you guys earlier this year when you granted us our extension on the zoning ordinance that you were going to see me a few times. This is another one of those map updates. This was actually approved back in 2004 per plating. This is at Albany and 193rd, so up there near that Christian Brothers development. We're actually just getting the zoning map updated, get everything finalized. This is one of those items.
Questions?
Make a motion, we approve ordinance number 3827.
Second.
Motion and second. Item approved. And I will move for this emergency clause.
Second.
Okay. Item 11G, consideration, discussion, and possible adoption of ordinance number 3829.
So this is the last two. This is the rest of the escrow ordinance changes. This specifically addresses items in Chapter 10. Since they were split apart in the ordinance, we had to have two separate ordinance changes for that.
Motion to approve and adopt ordinance number 3829.
I'll second.
Item approved. I'll move for the emergency clause again.
Second.
Emergency clause approved.
Thank you.
You may leave us now. Item number 12, remarks, inquiries by governing body members.
Since the mayor's not here, I think we mostly all attended Shamrock the Rose this Saturday, and it was packed. We had a lot of people, and I just wanted to thank Deborah for all the hard work. I mean, I know she has a team of volunteers and stuff, but everything she does for Soldier's Wish really brought a lot of people to our community. And as far as I know, and the chief may be able to enforce this, but I don't think we had any problems with as many people. No problems, zero problems. So it was great. It was a great event.
It was the best one I've been to so far. The weather helped out a lot because people were everywhere. Mm-hmm. My grandsons were there because people might think it's more of an adult event, but I mean, my 4-year-old and 2-year-old grandsons, they literally were out there for like 6 hours and had so much fun. By the end of the night, they were crashed in their wagon, but they had a great time running around. And they think that they own Main Street now. Like the 4-year-old, he's like, "Hi, I'm Kobe" to everyone. So he was my best little campaigner. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll just give a brief update on our trip to D.C.
Yeah.
As a lot of you guys know, all 5 members of the council went to the National League of Cities Congressional Cities Conference in Washington, D.C. It was a really great trip. The conference was informative. We also had the pleasure of taking our seniors from our youth city council. We took 5 of them with us, and I think they had a really good time. Councilor Parks and myself sit on that council. Lori Hill and Michael Godfrey, neither one of them are in here, but they were also the staff who were attached to the youth city council. They did a great job with them. We had the opportunity to enjoy the conference, but also to take in some of the sites. Councilor Parks led a great tour of Arlington. You know, he and his wife lived there previously, so it was a great time, and I think we had a great time, a great opportunity to visit with our congressmen, our representatives, and senators to advocate for projects right here in Broken Arrow, so they're aware of what we are doing, and how they can help us to continue to be successful as a city. So I think that was a great opportunity for that as well. So.
We did get to get some behind the scenes as well, because Justin's got some connections there and places that I had never seen before. It was very nice. And I was also,
Capitol.
Yeah, at the Capitol. At the Capitol was very nice. And I also had the honor of meeting our president as well and getting my picture taken with him. I don't know when I'm going to get that, but.
Yes, Lisa, share what he said to you.
That's okay.
But it was to share it. Y'all asked her after the meeting. It was pretty funny.
It was very interesting for sure. I was more excited about like the Secret Service and how the behind the scenes things. But anyway, it was an honor to meet the President of the United States.
He did come and speak and address the whole conference.
Yes.
And this is a good conference because for years the President has come. Last year, sent his wife. President did come all the way back to Ronald Reagan and Jimmy Carter. And so it's good for the youth. You know, the President is the President of the United States, and we need to honor him. And the crowd did honor him when he spoke. So we've had presidents, and it's a great learning experience for our youth to make this trip.
And I'm going to read the Second Amendment. It's one of my favorites. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, item number 13, city manager.
Yes, Vice Mayor, members of council, just a few things. I wanted to mention a couple of road projects. First is that Albany, between Lynn Lane and County Line Road, it's, as you know, it's spring break this week, and they're finishing the final touches. When the kids come back to school, that road will be open. So that was a major accomplishment for our, we're working with ODOT because there were ODOT funds in that project, and I know there was an incredible amount of inconvenience for the school district especially, and I just want to appreciate, tell how much I appreciate Superintendent Perry and his team and working with our team to try to make that happen, and the patience of the parents that had to get their kids there, or the kids that were driving. But it is an amazing looking. I mean, I know that we had the light on flashing that's going to be installed there. I think that's 12th or 14th Street, 12th Street. So that should be energized real soon, and that's another project that we can take off the list that the voters approved and that we've completed. Also, Washington is open, as everybody knows. What is exciting about that project is that's 2 miles of east-west improvements. As you know, the street department came in a couple of years ago and had to finish up because of some challenges with the contractor, and Ashley did an amazing job. And so you have those 2 miles, and you heard about Houston actually is going to be starting very soon, which is another 2 miles that the voters approved that were promised. I want to mention County Line Road because it's, I would say it's, the light is not in at the end of the tunnel, proverbially speaking, yet with regard to the road widening and the bridge. But I can tell you that we're still looking at having that project completed this summer. One of the challenges that we've had is you're trying to keep the road open for traffic under the old bridge with the new bridge and the temporary road there. There's been some challenges with the temporary road, and that's an ODOT project. We've been in contact with their contractor, their construction inspection team, to make sure that we've shared their concerns. I've asked the chief to provide me with some data to see, you know, if we've had any issues. But we had a couple of folks complain about the temporary road there, but we're trying to work with the contractor to make sure that remains passable. I've driven it many times and noted some of the same things to residents, but we're trying to stay on top of those things and making sure it's safe, because some people continue to use that road to and from taking kids to school, work, and so forth. But we're just a few months away from actually having that project. That's a major project. It's about a $15 million project that we are going to be completing very soon. Budget week was last week, and so as I had mentioned to the council members, we're looking at having budget sessions in May, two sessions. Very successful last week, and I want to acknowledge the efforts of Cindy Arnold, our finance director, and her team to put everything together. The directors, every year they come in with what they believe they need in order to try to move our community forward and continue to provide great services, so I want to commend them. So we're looking forward to those budget sessions that we'll have just in a couple of months. Speaking of meetings, as the council knows, the week of April 22nd is going to be an extremely busy week. I actually have 30 meetings that week, all related to the 2026 general obligation bond package. Some of the staff members will be at every one of those meetings. I've decided to block out that whole week. We'll be meeting with all the directors first, followed by community groups, the civic organizations that actually we work with the use of our buildings, the school district officials, chamber EDC officials, and actually use those opportunities that week to hear from those that have submitted recommendations or requests from them to the council. We'll pull all this together. Jacobs, our consultant that the council approved recently, is going to be at all of those meetings, and really it's going to be an introductory meeting for them to hear the why behind what they've asked for, because then Charlie Bright, Kenny Schwab, and Jacobs are going to be meeting individually with those groups so they can actually ask some more questions and start putting together the estimates, the project sheets that will determine exactly the size of the package, and start putting those in the respective propositions that we will need in order to present to the council sometime in the summer of 2025. Council members, you all serve on a different board, and you're more than welcome, as Lori has pointed out, Lori Hill, to attend if your schedule will permit, to hear. You're probably aware of the requests that are going to be made, but certainly I'd love to have you there if you're available. So I'm excited about it. It's going to be a lot of work, but I think it's just a part of what we do here in terms of being transparent and making sure that we get everyone's opinion. The next thing is in regards to the bond package. In one sense, I'm meeting with Aaron Thursday to go over the results of the survey. and having presented that to me, then next month we're going to be presenting it to the council. And I'm very pleased with what he has shared with me. I've not actually seen the full results. I saw a little bit of the sampling, but it was extremely positive. And Aaron gave a briefing just this morning on some of the high level, and so next month I'm very pleased to share that with the council members in terms of how about 4,000 people responded to our survey. And then I wanted to say the last thing with regard to personnel. As you know, Chuck Vokes retired at the beginning of January after being with the city for over 5 years. We have a great leadership team in the utilities in those number 2 positions and number 3 positions. We've worked very hard to make sure we have the right people on the bus in the right seats, and we just needed someone that could actually drive the utility bus. And Norm Stevens and Kenny Schwab and I met with several candidates, and we determined that the best person for this position was Tim Robbins. And he's there. He's here. There, Tim. It's a good, and it's not so good. I mean, he was in construction. He was a construction manager in engineering construction. Has incredible background experience. So Charlie's going to have to fill that position. He's also going to have to actually fill his own self. So he's already started that process. But I can tell you, Tim's been here 9 years, extremely loyal, understands what's expected, and I'm looking forward to him, and I think we found the right person to lead that department. So you all know him. He's been before you many, many times, probably speaks more than just about any other director, very trustworthy, and so I'm looking forward to him taking the reins and going to town. So just want to mention that.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You have a speech?
It's pretty fancy.
That's all I have, Vice Mayor.
All right, thank you. We do have an executive session, so I will entertain a motion to go into a brief recess to go into Bama and Beta.
I'll make that motion. We recess to go into Bama and Beta and continue the executive session later.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Green.
Roll call.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Parks.
Yes.
Gillespie. Wimpy.
I call the Broken Arrow Municipal Authority meeting to order. Roll call.
Green.
Here.
Ford.
Here.
Parks.
Here.
Gillespie.
Here. Item number 3, consideration of the consent agenda. Do we have any items to remove?
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Have a motion and a second.
Didn't record mine, but I'm a yay.
It's not working.
You're good.
Can we do that motion over again? Sorry.
Sure. Here you go.
Consent agenda approved. Item number 4, there were no items removed. Item number 5, public hearings, appeals, presentations, awards, none. Item number 6, there's no general authority business. Do you have any other remarks from governing body?
No, ma'am.
City manager?
No, Madam Chair.
There's no executive session. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Call the Broken Arrow Economic Development Authority meeting to order. Roll call.
Green.
Here.
Ford.
Here.
Parks.
Here.
Wimpy. Gillespie.
I'm here.
Wimpy.
Item number 3, consideration of consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed?
Make a motion to pass the consent agenda?
I'll second that motion.
It's okay. We have a motion and a second.
This was consent.
Yes, ma'am.
You made the motion.
I made the motion.
Motion, second.
I made the second.
Green?
Yes.
Ford?
Yes.
Parks?
Yes.
Gillespie?
Yes. All right. Item number 4, consideration of items removed. There were none. Item number 5, there are no public hearings, appeals, presentations, or awards. Item number 6A, 6 is general authority business. A, consideration, discussion, and possible approval and execution of Broken Arrow Economic Development Authority Resolution Number 1565. Norm Stevens.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Mr. Spurgeon, authority members. The Shops at Aspen Creek agreement was signed in October of 2012. That agreement was to put the Warren Theater in and a large amount of retail. As we're all aware, through that period of time, numerous conversations between city staff, council members, and the developer, it did not develop in a manner that any of us were pleased with. We've continued on having conversations with that developer and landowner throughout the year. At ICS in May of 2023, and then even before that, we learned that that developer had gone into an agreement with, in my opinion, one of the very best commercial brokers in this region. And I made a comment to him at that time. I said, if he can't make this successful, nobody can make this successful. If he can't fill what's in your development, nobody can do it. Well, he was quite successful in his endeavors. And in May of 2023, I was talking with representatives of the Signorelli Company, and they began wanting to talk with us about assistance from the authority in order to make the items that had been signed by this commercial broker a reality. As we're all aware, very little or no development of any size is being done anywhere without a public-private partnership. And even though there had been significant investment in the past, in order to move forward, it was going to require a partnership such as this. During the course of the summer and into early fall, negotiations continued, but it became very, very apparent that the amount of money that that landowner was going to seek from the authority was beyond reasonable. And the negotiations ended. They ended with that landowner, but they didn't end with us trying to make this a successful project. We continued to work, and I had many conversations, as did Mr. Spurgeon and Economic Development Director Rush, with that commercial broker. We also had discussions with people in the industry that we had a tremendous amount of respect, and we all came to the conclusion the only way we could ever move this project forward is if the city gained control of that land and it controlled what we could do from that point forward. Mr. Spurgeon gave me the authority to begin negotiations with Signorelli to see if we could come to an agreement on the purchase. During the first quarter of 2024, an offer was made to purchase 41.43 acres. And can we turn that? Can we rotate it, please? Will it allow us? And that, thank you, sir. That 41.43 acres included all that is in yellow and the part that's in red. The purchase price offer was $7 million. A lot of back and forth between myself and Mr. Signorelli, and I finally made the recommendation to the city manager that we exclude the part that's in red, knowing that the rest of it, if it develops out, the part in red's gonna sell almost immediately because of where it's located. And the agreement, as far as our offer of $7 million, was to purchase that 37.9 acres. We are in the process of doing an Alta survey, phase 1, and appraisals for our due diligence. As far as next steps, it is not the intention of the authority, and it's been made very clear to me, for the authority to own land long-term. It is to enter into an economic development agreement, which we will begin, once approval, if we get approval from this board, we will begin negotiations and putting together an economic development agreement with the commercial broker of that property to move forward. And I hope to bring that to you by May, first meeting in May. The 39.7 acres, 37.9, forgive me, will be divided into 3 phases. The first phase, the broker has LOIs, letters of intent, for 160,000 square feet of national tenant, all of it retail, for that phase 1 alone. At full build out, with what he has the LOIs for, it's anticipated that the total sales will be approximately 41.1 million annually. Forgive me, which in city sales tax come out to $1,455,500. It's estimated that full build out of phase 2, and his goal is once he does phase 1, he's going to start phase 2 during the same time frame. And it should do 25 million annually, which in city sales tax would be 887,500. These are estimates. And then on phase 3, the total sales are anticipated to be $10 million, which would equate to 355,000. If it does what is anticipated for it to do, the city will recoup the money that it puts in to purchase the property and whatever economic development incentives that are approved by this authority in around 10 years. The part of the negotiations that we have talked about is that phase 2 and 3, we will do a deal to where the commercial broker will buy that from the city at the appropriate price to further help us recoup our money. It's not a deal that I thought I would be bringing to you at this stage back in 2012. It is my opinion, and my opinion is worth whatever it is, but it's my opinion, without a funding mechanism and the involvement of the city, and obviously the person who owns the land now, we can't get anywhere close, that without this involvement from the city, this piece of property will lay in the same state that it is now for the next 5 to 10 years. The only way at this point to be successful is moving forward with public-private partnership, and the best first step is the city or the authority gaining control of the land. I'll be happy to answer any questions, or Mr. Spurgeon, if you want to add anything, sir.
No, you covered it, Norm, to this point.
Can you share with those what any of those retail businesses are yet?
No, ma'am. No, they're LOIs. The contracts are teed up. They've been negotiated, but I can't until they're actually done.
I know that's going to be a question that I get asked
Yes,
immediately
ma'am.
when I leave here.
They're national retailers.
They're all national tenants, yes, sir, retailers.
You know, staff has done a great job of putting this all together. I'm not in favor of it, but I'm in favor of them, and certainly bragging on them and putting this together. I think the city certainly will make money in the long run on it. I think certainly the sales tax will be there. I know the names of some of the businesses. I was very excited, so if I'm excited, you should be excited about that. So I think it's good. What I'd object to, and I'm not trying to convince anybody else of this, is just, it's setting a precedence, is that we're going in and buying the land. It's not even the money. It's the investing of it, public-private partnership. It works out, you know what I mean, great. It's just that I've always been opposed to us using our public dollars to make money. So they've done a great job, and I want it to pass. It'll be good for South Broken Arrow. It'll be good for people in that area, but I'm just opposed to it because it'll set a precedence that I don't agree with. Spending the millions of dollars for infrastructure the way we've always done, I'm for it 100%. But just purchasing the land and being a partner with somebody over a short period of time, hopefully it's short, I'm just not in agreement with.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it doesn't sit well with me either, just everything, just, well, I mean, the whole, government owning private property. So that stings. My question is, okay, so if, and I'd asked this, but I would ask to talk about it in the meeting about if the current owner kept the property and they did the the sales tax agreement that we had with them where they didn't, what would we ultimately have given them?
3.2 or $3.4 million.
$7 million.
In sales tax.
Yeah, in sales tax.
Oh, in sales tax. If they would have done it, $3,250,000 over a 15-year period.
Okay. Do we know how much they've gotten?
About $1 million.
About $1 million.
So we would have, ultimately, we would have ended up with, 2.2 million that we would have given them over, if they had built it out.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 2.2 million more that we would have given them if they had built it out, which they have not.
I do want to be real clear, though, ma'am. The Warren Theater and that small strip center will stay in.
Right. I get that.
Well, there's 4 years left.
Yes, it ends in 2027.
Yeah, so three years left. I feel like that amount, I tend to see I'm trying to look at the bigger picture on this because I know with the way that interest rates are now, it is about impossible for anybody, even no matter how wealthy they are. Unless you're a Signorelli, to come in and purchase land like that, which is why we're in the position we're in, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
It's because with interest rates, nobody can afford to do the deal without asking for a lot more from the city. So potentially, if someone did buy the land, then they would need even more incentives, worth more money, to make the deal happen.
That is correct.
Well, and the land has been there all this time, and no one's
Right.
moved on it.
Because
And
of this.
no one's-
Yeah. I can't stand that we've been put in this position because but it is what it is at this point. I feel like if it is gonna pay for itself quickly, and traditionally Broken Arrow, we have moved, everything we do, it's ahead of schedule. And I know we don't plan that way. We always plan for the worst case scenario rather than the best case scenario. But we've done a good job of getting things, recouping our money. So are we saying the first phase is the big?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the big?
22.8.
Okay, and then second, and then the third phase, I guess, are the two
Right,
little
and the
pieces?
small piece up on the northeast corner will be included in the one closest to it.
Okay. What's the deal with the land in the middle? Is that a creek? Who owns that? Is that just
It's
core?
creek,
Okay,
or a blue line.
okay,
Well, and I like that because there's a buffer between that and
right,
residential too.
yeah.
And I can say with all honesty, there has never been a time that we have not been trying to negotiate something moving forward with the shops, and over that entire time have been unsuccessful.
Right. I know. I'm not sure that, it's like we always have a choice, but I feel like this is the best thing at this point, considering nobody has been looking at it otherwise.
Unfortunately, we can't unring any bells that have already been rung. We can't
Right.
go back and undo things. We just have to look forward and put our best foot forward and do what we feel is going to be best for the city and for the citizens.
And I know the citizens will be very excited about the things that are planned, so.
Well, I'll just share a couple of things with you. I share the same concerns all of you do. If we didn't have the national lineup coming for phase one, I would not be recommended that we just purchase land just to be purchased. So I understand the council members' concern about owning land. So I would not be recommending this if we didn't have this lineup, which I'm very confident because the person that we're dealing with for this economic development agreement that we bring you has done construction and done projects in Broken Arrow. Mm-hmm. So we know the quality of that person's development, and so there's we've seen several of these LOIs, letters of intent, so we know that they're legitimate. We looked at the possibility of creating a TIF district, which the city would have to finance, and I felt the best way to do it because I believe we need to actually start bringing funds into our coffers. So we were in a position and blessed enough to be able to purchase it, and based on the return, as Norm talked about, we will get our funds back, and I think that's important right now. Would look at the economy in terms of making sure that we have adequate resources. Number one, my first goal is to get the residents in that part of town the same access to the same businesses and services as the rest of the town have, and I believe this will do that. Secondly, because everyone will say the city just wants money, and that's not the case, it's about providing access to the same services. Secondly, is not incurring any more debt to do this, which we won't be. And then third, basically the sales tax coming to us directly, so therefore we can continue to provide great services, which have a tremendous effect on the quality of life. So this is, to me, this was the best approach. And that's why I'm asking you to consider this. But once again, if we didn't have someone ready to go, then I wouldn't be in the position we are this evening of recommending this.
And could we talk a little bit about we tabled item L from the consent agenda and city council. Can we talk a little bit about where that funding is going to come from? So I think that's important.
Well, actually, the city appropriates funds every year into economic development, and actually, generally speaking, the funds are coming from our fund balance for economic development. More specifically, as it says in the RFA, is that we received CARES Act money and we used everything that we needed in order to meet the expectations and the obligations that we had for dealing with the pandemic, and there were no restrictions on those funds. So actually, they're in our fund balance to be used as council determines. And so looking at the highest and best use for those funds, really it's a one-time money is the way I've looked at it, just like every other purchase that we made with those funds. This meets that definition because there are no restrictions. It'd be a one-time purchase. And then the goal would be to replace those funds back into our fund balance and try to balance that out as we start to receive sales tax back into the city coffers.
And so many cities had to use that money because their sales tax and was very poor during 2020, but we didn't have those same issues. So we were able to keep a fund balance.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? All right.
Thank you very much.
Motion.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution number 1565.
I'll second that motion.
Green,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Parks,
No.
Gillespie.
Yes. All right, item passed. Item number 7, remarks and inquiries by governing body members.
None at this time.
City manager?
Madam Chair, I just, the resident left, I'm going to just address Mrs. Trent. I really appreciate her getting up and actually asking those questions. Fortunately, we've had a couple of discussion about those, but I will follow up with the council members as we actually move along. I'd like to bring the promoter, once we know who the actual individuals are, in to meet the council, whether it's at a council meeting or some type of informal reception, because I think that's important. I know the staff is going to be engaging with the promoter and making sure that they understand what the deliverables are in the contract, especially it relates to emergency management and public safety type services. In fact, as you know, we've talked about going out to Colorado Springs to look at their operation because actually it's similar in size. And so that's a very important question about how we would handle disasters. That would be their responsibility, but they would be doing it in concert with our folks, because if something was to happen, they'd make the call whether the concert would go on or would not go on. But certainly our police department, our fire department are going to be heavily involved in that. In terms of maintaining that park, that was a great point by the council member Parks about the bonds, and I'm glad that he mentioned that. But, just to be clear, there is no intentions of ever making this anything but an amazing recreation area, for our community. I mean, we've got Scott Fest that's moving downtown this year into Central Park, but they certainly want to continue to call Broken Arrow home, and council made it very clear that we'd like to have that festival in our community to keep it because it draws so many folks. And I think the amphitheater could eventually be something that they might consider utilizing as a part of it. We have Challenger that's having basically about 45 tournaments a year, drawing more people into the area than it's used. The bass fishing, the fishing there that's going on there, council's talked about improving it. So I just want the public to hear that, and I didn't turn the page, otherwise I would have said this in the council meeting, is that is an economic development driver, that park is. And so I can't see ever the council doing anything differently, and I just wanted to provide some more color to that.
I just want to echo about the weather, for sure, because like several years ago, we actually had to cancel Camp Bandage the day before because of what Jamie Ott, our emergency management director, just said it just wasn't safe. And the next day that we would have had Camp Bandage, a tornado went over. It didn't touch down, but it went over the events park, right where we would have been. So that's very important, I know, to all the council, to keep our residents and our visitors safe. And I do believe we have the right people in the place, but we definitely need to get notes live.
Yes.
And I love hearing that about Scott Fest. I didn't know
Yeah, I didn't know that
they
either.
decided to go to Central Park.
Well, it's a little bit unofficial. I was,
Okay.
But you know what?
Not anymore.
But it's officially unofficial, but they're excited about it. And so I talked to Chris Saturday night at Shamrock, and their biggest number one point is, we want to make sure Broken Arrow wants us here, and the question was unequivocally absolutely. And so it's just a matter of finding a great location. Grant Rissler and the special events team worked very hard because we are a sponsor and a partner of them. And so I don't know if you want to add anything, Grant, but I can tell you is they seem to be excited about the opportunity.
Yeah, I believe that it's a different, the festival will have a little bit of a different feel, but I think we're going to do whatever we can on our end to help them be successful. And so we're looking forward to it this year. It's going to be a little bit different, but yeah, we're going to make it happen. So.
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay. And we don't have an executive session for Beta, so.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
Green,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Parks,
Yes.
Gillespie.
Yes. All right, we are back in City Council. So we'll go to item L on the consent agenda. Approval of and authorization to execute budget amendment number 25 for fiscal year 2024.
I'll make a motion that we approve that item.
Second?
Green,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Parks,
Yes.
Gillespie.
Yes. And we do have executive session, so.
I'll make a motion to clear the room to prepare for our special, so I always say special election,
Executive
session, executive session.
Who's second?
I'll second.
Okay. Green,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Parks,
Yes.
Gillespie.
Yes.